Hello, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Lost Like Mike. I'm your host, Mike Gonzalez. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for subscribing, for sending me messages at lostlikemike@gmail.com. I think this was like the calm before the storm week. It was Julie's birthday, but everything's kind of leading up to next week. I'm having my procedure, and so a lot of the focus or the of my anxieties are kind of centered around that. But Julie had a good birthday. Of course, I performed on the night of her birthday, so we had to celebrate the day before. No big deal. She's kind of flexible when it comes to that. But what we did do was I set up, a little cake and some flowers and some decorations after she went to bed. So she woke up on her birthday with, a little birthday setup. Of course, I'm at the grocery store at 11 o'clock at night, waiting for her to go to sleep. So it could be a surprise. So there I am trying to figure out what type of decorations. I was looking for shark themed or dinosaur themed because she's kind of like into those things. But I ended up settling for fiesta themed. So like these bright colors and these big squares in multiple colors, like with shapes cut out into them, and you hang them above. Maybe I'll take a picture of it. Anyway, and then like a fiesta themed tablecloth where I put the, flowers and whatnot. Her presents. She's a strange one though, because she'll tell you specifically what she wants for her birthday. But she'll tell you like 4 or 5 things and say only get one, so it could be a surprise. So she loves the surprise on the birthday, but then she wants to be one of certain things. So the way I don't know if it's a surprise anymore, the way that I do it, but I don't know for how long. I'll always get her one of those things that she wanted, and then I'll select another one of the same kind of category, and surprise her that way. But so that's how we brought in her birthday, and we had like a dinner the night before, and so it's kind of cool. Speaking of birthdays, like I just had my birthday, and I'll get into it in a little bit why I was doing this, but I was doing some yard work, and I went down to get something, and all of a sudden this pain shot through the side of my back, and I was like, there it is. Happy birthday to me. Like whenever you have another birthday, something else creeps in there and says, I was waiting for this year to, kick in the sciatica or all of that stuff's no joke, man. That's pretty painful. But anyway, so to get into why I was doing yard work. So Julie's grandmother lives like far, far in the country, right? I mean, far, but she lives a bit out, and she's got this property, an acre, nothing too crazy, an acre of property out this, and I talked about it briefly on, I think, another episode, but she's a tough lady. She's up there, probably in her late 70s, early 80s, if I had to guess. Perhaps a little older, I don't know. But she's out there tending to the yard by herself. And we went out to visit and say hello, and she was telling me, she's like, let me show you. And she took me out to this garage. Actually broke my heart a little baby bit because she took me out to this standalone garage that they had built, her and her husband. And the week after he built it, he passed away. Never got to utilize it, never got to enjoy the fruit of what he worked on and built. So in part, I wanted to, I told her, I said, you know, she had this big 0-point turn lawnmower, and I'll have to put a picture of it because I don't know if everybody knows what a 0-point turn lawnmower is. It's giant, looks like a go-kart, but like, or a tractor that could like really hurt somebody, because it's got like these upright handles. They come out in front of you, like you're gonna run the robot on Aliens or Avatar, and you push your hands towards you. Oh, look at me, just not even knowing what I'm doing. No, you push them forward, and that makes it go forward. You pull them towards you, it makes you go back. And then you do like one hand forward, and like your right hand forward, left hand back, and it'll turn you. You know, and then you switch hands, and left hand forward, right hand back, and it turns you the opposite direction. And basically it'll turn on a dime, so you could do like a 360, like standing still. And so you lower the blades and you raise the blades on the lawnmower. And so when I went the first time, I said, you know, I can't believe I mean, that's so impressive that you're out here doing this stuff. I said, I would really like it if you'd allow me to learn how to use this, and I would do your yard for you so I could learn how to use this machine. And she's like, it's super easy, hop on. And I'm like, nope. I did though. She's like, get on. And it was terrifying in the sense that, as in any new machine would be, that is capable of cutting things into small little baby pieces. So, and then you don't know what you're doing on it, right? But I was basically, she just showed me how to turn it on and off, is what she did. And then gave me the basic instructions. And she's like, yeah, whenever you want to give it a shot, you know. And she made some comments about like how she pays people to come out and do her yard, and she would rather, you know, the money go. And I said, no, I don't want any money. I just want to come out and have some fun on this machine. And, you know, I would like to see what it's like to manage a yard this big. And throughout that first visit, she was like, and watch out for this and watch out for that, when, you know, giving me a tour of the property. Like, there's a tree stump here, there's a hole here, you know, that kind of thing. And in the general area where she's located, there's a lot of sand. It's predominantly sand in the soil. You know, it's grass and trees and whatnot, like, you know, weeds, grass, everything, but just like a lot of sand, right? It's very trippy. But so this was like a couple weeks ago, and we kept promising. I said, oh, I'm gonna go and do it. And she had really nice other equipment too, like edgers and blowers and the whole bit. You know, he really had a nice garage set up prior to finishing it. So in addition, before we had gone to visit that first time, she was on this 0-point turn tractor going around this property, and had hit or bumped into a tree and was attacked by like dozens and dozens of bees. And I think that's the story that I initially told. So here I had a dream last night. Probably because I mean, obviously because it was on my mind. But there was this giant bee, wasp, sort of mutant giant bee, and it was on my finger, and its stinger was in my finger, and I was trying to flick the bee off, and it was stuck to my finger. That was the dream. Whatever. Probably in part because I was anxious about whether or not I was going to run into a tree and be attacked by hundreds of bees. I mean, like, I have a history with bees, and we don't get along. Although I try. I let them build their little nests or whatever, their hives, as it were. And but you know, I'm more frequently than I would like to admit being stung. So I'm kind of revisiting my policy on these creatures. But anyway, I figure that's Mother Nature, getting her pound of flesh out of me for, I don't know, mowing the lawn or my carbon footprint, whatever. Anyway, but she assured me when I arrived today that the bees were treated on that tree. They're gone. And but they also have a bajillion we call them stickers. These little tumbleweed looking things. They're tiny. These plants that grow with like dozens of them on every single plant, and they stick to your feet, and they get thrown all over your body, and they're very sharp. They pierce your skin, and they're these little balls that jump off of the plant as this protective thing. And I'm only describing it because I don't know if everybody here knows what stickers are, or I'm sure there's a technical term for them, but we're gonna call them stickers. Anyway, you walk 2 feet and you've got your feet are covered in them, and they're in your shoes. Like they burrow into your socks. I don't know how. To put it that way, like when I came home after picking them like crazy before I got into the vehicle, and like taking my shoes off outside just to be sure, and keeping all my clothes in a pile, I jumped in the shower and I was still pulling them out of my hair. So they were that crazy invasive. So but she gave me a recap brief tutorial. Listen, it's her stuff, but she was literally smoking cigarettes while I was putting gas into the thing. And I'm not talking about like across the yard, like talking to me. She was with one hand holding the cigarette and the other one showing me how to work the nozzle on the gas thing. Just no fear. I even stopped and she's like, was that enough gas? And I'm like, no, you're kind of like, I didn't, just nothing. And I went back to doing it because I was like, she's going to ash and we're going to blow up and no big whoop, right? But this thing, I started it up, right? And she gave me all these instructions, and it was really cool. Like, I went really slow, and I'm starting up and I'm learning. It's like I have this learning curve because I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'm going at it for a little bit, and she's like, when you get good, go fast. And I'm like, dude, I'm pushing as far as I can go forward. What do you mean? I don't understand. And she was waving me to stop, and I waited. And she said, right here is like this throttle. And I was apparently as slow as you possibly can go on the thing, and I was already like freaking out. I was just, anyway, so, but I was like, you know what? I started going back and forth. I started figuring it out. That it was a lot of space to go. Next thing you know, I'm full on throttle. I'm going in circles around the trees, and it it was stupid fun. I can't even tell you how much fun I had using this machine. You know, but there's a lot of wildlife. There was like, I remember this one thing where they're talking about how people that like to eat plants and they justify it because they say they don't want to hurt animals, that they can't kill a living thing. And then somebody said, well, you know, when you plow the fields and when you harvest your crops, you're killing thousands of like bugs and lizards and snakes and you know, all kind of sort of creatures. You know, you don't get the full grasp of that until you're plowing, you know, going 10 miles an hour, stupid, like, I don't know how slow I was going, but when you're kicking the size of a zero turn and you're watching all these, there were thousands of grasshoppers just flying everywhere every time I would move, and then I would see lizards like running by left and right, and I swear I saw the same lizard. The dummy would get in front of me every time I would go around this long, big circle, and I would come back and there's the dummy again, like crossing by. Like it's fun time. But I did see a snake cut into pieces that I hit inadvertently. I mean, I feel bad, but at the same time, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I put the memo out. I said I was going to be coming through. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I was using a blower to clear out the garage that, and there was a giant spider. I mean, that's what I was thinking the whole time, is like, I'm in the middle of the country, like, I'm gonna get bit in the ass by some, you know, poisonous spider, and they're gonna have to cut a hole in my butt. It's not gonna be cool. And then I have so I was freaking out. Here's what I think happens, though. I think there's a foundation of anxiety, whatever it is. So in this case, we'll call it the anxiety of using this equipment that I've never used before. And then it compounds by whatever anxiety you have going on in your life on the side. Like I think subconsciously I'm harboring a lot of anxiety about this, of going under and being put to sleep for this procedure. And I think the combination of those things, and then you would think that driving around and having to remember how to do your hand movements, this one forward, this one back, both forward, both, you know what I mean? Like trying to navigate this machine, you would think that that'd be distraction enough, but it's not. You would think, I mean, I had a headphone in for a minute, but then they had stopped me one time, so I had taken it out and I didn't want to put it back in, so I just stuffed it in my pocket. And so just driving around, at first it was like, yeah, like, you don't fall into the hole, don't hit this thing, don't. But then after you're cruising around for a long time, you're sitting there and you're like, I'm not distracted, I mean, by it anymore. You're left in sort of like a meditative state of like, you're going to be doing this for the next hour to an hour and a half or what have you. And then you're locked into thinking of those things, you know, repeatedly over and over. I mean, not specifically, but, you know, anxious things. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like, I guess, the way mine manifests is that I start thinking of ridiculous things and getting that sort of panic attacky feeling. But then you're like, you know that it's just ridiculousness, you know, but it's just your body's trying to get rid of it, you know, get it out of your head or get it out of drowning in it. So, I mean, although I think it's important that you don't avoid it, sometimes, you kind of got to, right? Or just to sort of, that even doing things it would normally be distracting, sometimes isn't enough to save you from that sort of finding yourself wallowing in, or like having to think about whatever it is that you're trying to avoid mentally, right? And I think, I guess there's always like a large thing that is the root of for me, of that anxiety. And I think mine in this case is going to be the procedure, and really just being put to sleep. I don't really care about the other parts of it, of like the invasiveness of the like just them doing stuff to you. Obviously, I wouldn't want for there to be negative results of the tests or whatever, or finding things that are bad, but I can almost, like, for me, there's a real thing happening, and that's that I'm being put to sleep. That's something I can focus on. I can see it, and I can be upset about or be anxious about. And there's nothing if I said right now, there's nothing I can do to change it. It's happening in 2 days, whether I like it or not. No backseas. It's going to happen. So, I just have to have faith, and that whatever is meant to be will be, and call it a day, There was a story from the Sunday school that I wanted to mention. It's actually like a public service announcement, a little PSA for you. Like, and this happens to me more often than I would like to admit. I say and do things in the privacy of my home when I'm talking to the wife or whatever, with my daughter. Cutesy ways of saying things, or like dumb ways of saying things, mainly for my own amusement, just to be stupid and silly and whatever. But you always must be careful about getting in the habit of saying and doing these things, because eventually you're going to say or do them out of habit in an inappropriate time or place. Kind of like, I'll give you a dumb example. My brother, or and different people that I would hang out, when somebody would, when he or somebody, that one of us would bend over to get a pencil, or they drop something and they pick it up, you'd go real quick, and then they turn around and you start laughing. And when I was in high school, I wasn't even thinking, and the lunch lady dipped, and I was like, nope. I felt bad. Instantaneously, it was ruining my whole day. Because that's not how I was. That's not who I was. That's not what I do. But it was funny, but it would have been funnier if it had been somebody else cool with, right? Anyway, so we were at the Sunday school, and as an icebreaker, as the kids came in, we were having them draw or write what their favorite food was on this big dry erase board. And it was like, oh, cool, another pizza. You like pizza too? Cool. I drew my hamburger, whatever. These different ones. And my daughter she would draw something this other little girl was drawing next to her. And one would draw a cake, she would draw a cake, and I'd be like, oh, cool, you like this, you like that. And my daughter's favorite thing, so one of my daughter's favorite snacks is a popsicle. So she drew one, and the other girl drew an ice cream cone, and whatever. And I said, Oh, that's cool. You both like popsicles. And the little girl said, what did you say? And I was like, I mean, popsicle, my bad, whatever. And then my wife starts laughing and making fun of me. And then my daughter's like tearing into me. And so, because my daughter eats at least one every day or whatever. And I'll say, and I got in the habit of telling her, you want another popsicle? And she would try to, and she'd be cute about it. And yeah, I want a popsicles. And I love popsicles, whatever. Anyway. So you say it enough times, you think you start getting the habit of saying it, and then um, I try to think back on how many times I've done this and used like an affectation that I had developed um, over like just being stupid with friends, and then find myself in a social setting and inadvertently not know that I'm doing it. Say it with that same affectation. There's this thing called latency, right? Where they say, all right, it's the time it takes between when you think something and you speak something, right? Or when you think something and you do something. You often hear latency when they talk about like recording, because sometimes there's a delay in the information processing into the right. So, but I think that's one main reason for latency in speech. I think that you should, like, I like just say what I'm thinking and just bleh. But the more you do that, the more you realize the ridiculousness of the things that come out of your mouth if you think too long or not long enough. See? Anyway, but I'm sure there's other examples. But this little girl was like, she had such a face on her, like it got all scrunched and she turned sideways, like almost like, am I slow or something? Like, are you okay? What'd you say? I was like, damn, okay. My bad. A popsicle. All right, so I don't know if I said this before my birthday. I think I talked about I went to a garage sale. I know I did. Okay, look, here's how it happened. I like going to garage sales. I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes enjoy it. Sometimes people overprice things. They price them like they're brand new. I don't understand it. Doesn't matter. Whatever. But usually I like to go out and see if I find one garage sale. Because sometimes you go to a garage sale and you'll find something that somebody's trying to get rid of, and they'll sell it to you for very cheap because they're just trying to clear stuff out. And sometimes you get stupid things that you don't need, but I mean, I think I even showed y'all my Coke bottle that I got. It's a, what do you call it? A piggy bank with a Coke bottle. It's ginormous. It's ridiculous. But for $2, what, you can't go wrong, right? Anyway, so I had gone garage selling. I didn't find anything. It was a drag. I went home and I wanted to take my dog for a walk. Which, by the way, my dog is just, what, 3-4 years old. But she's starting to be like doing very strange things. Like this, for example. We were going on this walk and we're deep in the walk, like into a second neighborhood, because my dog and I go on this mile. It's about a mile and a half, almost 2 miles that we walk. But she's got bad hips, so when she's done, she'll be like Amen. It was your dumminess wanted to walk this far, so deal. But anyway, we're doing this. We've done this walk many times, and she's actually getting pretty good at it. She has bad hips, so I don't push her too hard. But we were halfway through the thing, and she just poops. Like, she never does this. Like, she has a spot in the backyard, I mean, which is called the entire backyard, but she poops in the backyard, but never anywhere else. She refuses. She'll wait all night if you know, if she needs to go and we don't get the clue, but she's really good about letting us know. Anyway, long story short, she's halfway and while I'm like, are you kidding me right now? We had stopped and I was talking to her, the dog. You're pooping right now. Like, I don't have poopy bags because why would I have a poopy bag? You never do this ever in the universe. Why would you be pooping right now? And if I told the story before, I apologize. I just have to get to the second part because it's important. But I'm looking up while I'm talking to the dog and I see a garage sale like at the end of the block. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the house with the dog, finish the walk. I'm going to get some poopy bags and I'm going to get my bike and I'm going to ride my bike back on this trail and I'm going to stop by this garage sale. Okay? So there I go. I drop off the dog, I get my bike, I'm back, I pick up the poop, which I don't think I got enough credit for because who does that, right? I mean, most people, they let the dog poop and then if they don't have the bags or whatever, it's just like, well, you know, I didn't have my poopy bags, right? So, anyway, I think I even told the guy, like, I was like, I think, because I had it tied to my bike, I think I was like, I just picked up my dog's poop and I was in the neighborhood, so hi. Anyway, the guy was like this military dude and he liked motorcycles. So he's already like, he has his man card and mine's on layaway. So, but I'm just looking around and I see a tool belt. And it's brand new, but it's a tool belt. And the guy's like, yeah, I bought it for my son, but he ain't gonna use it. So you could have it for $10. And I didn't have any cash on me, so I was like, whatever. I told him, I said, I'm gonna go try to pull some money. And so I got back on my bike. I did the little bell, ring, ring, and then and then I took off. And anyway, when I got back to the house, I called Julie and I was like, hey, I found a garage sale. And I told her the story. Oh shit! Oh, that's funny. And I said, and they got a tool belt, and he's only asking $10 for a tool belt. And she said, why do you want a tool belt? And I was like, because, you know, I want a tool belt. Like, I want to put tools in the little holes in the pockets, and I want to carry them around when I do things with my tools. And she's like, she's laughing at me, and she's like, you don't fix anything around the house. See, here's the thing. Julie commandeers projects. Like, we get new blinds, new curtains. You know, there she is with my drill, and she's installing this stuff. And I'm not going to be like, hey, don't you know that's a man thing? Because I'm not. I'm progressive. Go ahead. Do your thing. Have fun, right? And she's really good at it. I'll give you an example. I had these hanging things where you hang a guitar on it. And I started to do it, and she's like, let me do it, and she comes over and starts, and next thing you know, there I am playing a video game, and she's standing over there installing these different things, and I know when to just say it's cool, go ahead. She'll get in these these little remodel, let's patch up these holes and from hanging pictures or all these places, and do this little touch up paint, and she likes doing a lot of that kind of stuff. So in my defense, she does like to, she steals a lot of those projects that I could be doing right. That's the story I'm going with, and I'm sticking to it. But my back. Anyway, so she's like, you don't need a tool belt, but if you want a tool belt, like, fine, whatever. So she writes it down, and because here's what happened. The next day, I started following her around, and I was like tightening screws in door handles, and like I took this rusted handle off of a broom, and I put a brand new stick on the broom, and I tightened it, and I presented it to her, this brand new broom, and I was like, now can I have a tool belt? But that was the joke, right? But then here comes my birthday, and she's like, and this other present isn't going to be here on your birthday. Do you want me to tell you what it is? Or do you want to see a picture of it? And wow, big spoiler. She bought me a tool belt, or her family bought me a tool belt for my birthday, right? And it came in yesterday, I think it was. But she came into the room, and I was watching videos, and she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing. And I was like, and she's like, no, what are you watching over there, right? And so she busted me watching YouTube videos about what kind of tools to put in your tool belt. So that was my humbling moment of the week. It's not that I don't know what tools to put in a tool belt. I just was interested in seeing what, the predominant, like what a majority of like handymen like to make sure to have in their tool belts, right? That's not a bad thing to look at, And like the same week, I'm like asking her to find me friendship bracelets. Oh, forget it. Anyway, but you know what? In my defense, who installed the brand new bike seat on my bicycle? I did. That's right. I got a bigger seat so I could have some cushion from my butt cheeks, because the one that I had was just like, I don't know how people ride bikes with just a sliver of plastic. It don't make any sense to me at all. But that was one of the gifts I got for my birthday, was a padded, wider bike seat. And I was researching a bunch of because I can't run. I need to do some cardio stuff, and I was trying to see about prostate and testicular cancer, and any connection to excessive bike riding or different types of bike seats. It's a whole silly thing. It's not silly, but I did the research, whatever. But I installed that seat, right? I put the seat on. I checked all this stuff. I tightened everything and put air in the tires, and this past week, past couple weeks, I've been riding my bike to the grocery store, like kind of at dusk. And it's a little neighborhood grocery store. It's kind of like, it's not like a big chain. It's like a smaller one. And the first time I went, I had this backpack, and I was like, look, I need to be able to check to see if these boxes of sodas, it was like these cans, are gonna fit in my backpack. Here's my wallet, and now I go there, and they're like, they say hi to me or whatever, and this goofy guy. Although I had to chain my bike to the carts, and so I didn't even think about it. And I was walking up on this dude. He was trying to get water out of this machine, and I didn't even think. I'm like coming over to unlock my bike, and he was like, "Whoa, man! I thought you were coming to rob me." And I looked behind me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's unlocking my bike, man. Sorry." Here's a young dude though, and I was all sweaty from having ridden my bike all the way there. I look all disheveled, and I probably scared the crap out of him because I look like, like why would somebody be coming at him like that? I don't even think about people like that. It's so stupid. But anyway, but here's the thing. I like containers for things. Like I like bags, I like tool belts, I like all that stuff. I think I would have really liked to be Batman, out of all the superheroes, because he has his utility belt and he puts all this stuff, Can you picture? I'm picturing Batman YouTubing what to put on his utility belt, um, but yeah, I, as a matter of fact, I bought like 3 backpacks from a garage sale, different types of backpacks. I gave one to my wife and daughter. It's a real sleek backpack, and then I kept a couple that I got. But man, I loved doing that yard work today because it was so. I mean, such an accomplishment. Like when I got there, everything looked shaggy and rough, and when I finished, everything was very cool. And then I was like, "How often would you need this done?" And she was like, "Probably every 2 weeks." I'm like, "Gee, no. I mean, can we, maybe once a month? Can we start there?" Jeez. But so I know it's a bit tasking, and she even said, she's like, right now it seems fun, but when you're having to do it all the time, and I'm like, I'm good with that. I just need to, every 2 weeks is just a lot for anything. I don't have a lot of time. So I started, this is the last thing, and however long it takes, I'm just going to say it real quick, and then we'll go about our weekend. All right, guys? Oh, my back, I swear. So I picked up the items from my brother's house. My brother that passed away had left a lot of collectibles, and the plan is to sell them. And I'm planning on doing something, either like a scholarship for filmmakers, or a memorial, with like the proceeds, or I'm giving some of the proceeds over to my other brother, and maybe more on that at another time, what I'm going to do with it. But so I started, I was working with this one guy. He works at a flea market, and he was like, I'll give you X amount of money for all this stuff. And he's like, I'm not going to BS you. Like, I'm going to give you less than 50% of what it's worth, but I'm going to be, because I have to sell it and try to make a profit. But he's like, I'm very fair. And listen, this guy, he seems sincere, right? Because I did my own research. I was pricing the items out. And when he called me and he said, this is how much I'm showing for how much they're worth. And I was like, yeah, it's about what I got. And he's like, and it's the median. So it's what, he's like, it's what I can get for this stuff. And I'm like, I get it. I understand that. And he's like, so I don't mind giving you, 40%, 40, somewhere around there, so I can make a profit. And because not all of it's going to sell for its asking price. Some of it might go more, some might go less. But he's like, I tend to do all right if I stick to this 40%. But I was like, that's cool, man. But can we just give me a couple weeks? I'm going to try to sell it independently. And then we'll see what's up. As well as I'm selling a couple other items. Like we have some comic books and a guitar. So I posted a lot of it on OfferUp. If you're not familiar with what OfferUp is, it's like this. It's an app where you can put pictures and a description of an item that you're selling, a price that you want to sell it at, whether you're going to ship it or not, whether to make arrangements to pick it up, right? And then people will send a message saying, hey, is this available? I'd like to offer you X amount of money for it. That's the gist of it. And when it first came out, I had a lot of luck with it. Like, I would sell things and people would pay a fair price. I never try to gouge people's. I never said, oh, and one thing I found right away was that people posted on to OfferUp. They'll say, practically new, never used, and then they'll charge it as if it's retail out of the store. And it's almost like you want to tell them that's not how it works, friend. Like, if you're gonna buy an item and pay full price, then I would buy it from Best Buy or whatever stupid, Target or wherever, store that they offer it, because then you're buying it with a receipt that if something doesn't work, you can get it, refunded or exchange it for the exact item, brand new, in the box, what have you. You're not doing that on OfferUp. And people it's like they don't get it. Like, or they'll throw in a word like vintage or antique and up the price. And well, yeah, it's broken, but it's an antique, so, right? So that's the first thing I noticed when I was initially posting items. But but recently I posted the collectibles, which were like these Funko Pops, right? There's these figurines that are in boxes, and he's got a bunch of them, whatever. And I posted a bunch, and I posted my guitar that I'm selling. But I've had so many, like, people will ask, first of all, they're like, would you be willing to trade? And like, no, man, I'll explain what I'm trying to do. I just want cash or like money. And then some people will be like, would you take half price? And it's like, come on, man. Like, I was like, I literally just posted this fella. Like, can I at least have a day before I cut the price in half, And then one of the Funko ones, there's this thing where you say it's $1, but then because it forces you to have a price. But if you're posting 40 something Funkos, right, and your expectation is to sell them individually, and the prices vary, obviously you can't put that under the price, but it requires a price to be put there. So I put $1. as many people do. And then in the description, it just says, there's a lot of different, it ranges, but I promise it'll be a fair price. And then somebody sends a message saying, I'd like to buy everything for $1. And it's like, all right, dude. I sent a message back, just read the description, man. Like, but that's not my problem. That's not my issue with OfferUp. Here's my issue. There's been like 5 different times where people will hit me up and be like, I'd like to buy it. And I'll say, cool. And then they'll say something to the effect of, and a variation of the following. Please give me your address so that I may fill in the blank. Either map the general area, come by and pick it up, fill in the blank. And I'll be like, it's cool. I will go and meet you, willing to drive. Basically, what I'm saying is, I don't want you at my house. I don't want you in my neighborhood. I don't want you to even know in general where I live. I'll drive, and I'll say something like, I can go to a common spot that's like far away from me, but you know what I mean? Like, tell me where a meeting point would be in this general vicinity, right? And then they ghost. They disappear. And it's happened 5 times when I refuse to give my actual address. It's like, what's going on, man? It's like the creepiest feeling. Like, are there people that are like, here's my address, come right to my house? And you know what? Now that I mention it, there were instances when I was purchasing things from I have purchased things from OfferUp, and I have delivered things directly to people's houses. Like, and that's not the smartest thing to do. But you have to take things in the context of the situation. Like, in the particular instance, they had furniture that they couldn't lift out of their area, and I had, someone with me. So, I mean, and their kung fu was good, so I wasn't too scared. It's completely not true. Their kung fu was not strong. But anyway, I just think it's kind of creepy. I don't know. I'm losing my faith in OfferUp. It goes back to the previous episodes where I talked about con artists and swindlers and shysters. I don't like being duped. I can be fair. I can say, look, I'll put these prices. I can be good about it, but Anyway, I just putting that out there. I think if anybody else is creeped out by certain recent experiences on any platform, I would love to hear about it. Email me at lostlightmike@gmail.com. Tell me your story. I won't laugh unless it's funny, and in which I hope we're laughing together. I'm glad I did this episode. I will see everybody next week. Lord willing, pray for me. I think it was my mom that said, look, all you have to worry about is just wake up. All right. It's like that easy. So I was even thinking of doing a special episode just to be like, hey, like, hi, I'm not dead. Gosh, not even funny. But we were driving by a graveyard, a cemetery today, and my daughter's like, why is it all fancy? Because it was one of those small town graveyards where they had like pinwheels and flowers and very colorful things just decorating the different, like, as even some of the crosses that were marking the graves were colorful. And I was telling her, this is what people do. Sometimes they put colorful flowers and or like different things to decorate. And I tell her like, the way that she did for Nut Nut, which is her hamster, we put like different pinwheels and stuff around where we buried it. Her or him. Do you remember that? I don't remember if it's a boy or girl. But anyway, and I could tell she was gonna say, "Would you do that? Will you do that for?" And she was trying to fill in that blank, like. And I wanted to be like, "No, baby, you're gonna put me in the ground and you're gonna decorate mine." You know what I mean? Like I wanted to say that so bad because I didn't want her to say her name. Like, you know what I mean? But you have to kind of do the math on that pretty quick and say, nope, I'm not even going to say that. I'm just going to be like, what I ended up saying was, you know, if that's what the person wants to have you're going to honor what they want. And I was like, got out of that one. But, yeah. Anyway, have a great week. All my love out there in the universe, and I will see y'all next week. All right, cheers.